Now at 60, Mike Wolfe has finally broken his silence, allowing the world a rare glimpse into the emotional toll their fractured friendship had taken on him. In a heartfelt and somber moment, Mike admitted that the fallout with Frank Fritz was not just a professional loss, it was a deeply personal one. After spending years traveling America's back roads, laughing over forgotten treasures, and building American pickers from the ground up, Mike never imagined a day would come when he and Frank would no longer speak. But here he was, a decade of memories behind him and an unshakable void in front of him. With the weight of time pressing down on him, Mike expressed his sadness, admitting that the unraveling of their bond still haunts him. Fame has a price, and for Mike Wolfe, that price came in the form of a friendship lost, one that once seemed unbreakable. For years, fans of American pickers watched as Mike and Frank Fritz roamed America's backroads, turning forgotten junk into gold. They were more than co-hosts. They were brothers in the hunt, bound by a shared passion for uncovering history. But behind the scenes, cracks began to form. Tensions grew, and a silent war between them eventually led to an ugly, public split, leaving fans heartbroken. Then tragedy struck. Frank Fritz, once Mike's closest partner, was gone forever. The man who had stood by his side through countless adventures, who shared the same thrill of the hunt, was now just a memory. And now at 60, Mike Wolfe is finally breaking his silence. But is it too late for redemption? Long before fame and heartbreak, Mike was just a scrappy kid from Bettendorf, Iowa, with a sharp eye for hidden treasures. Money was tight, so when he spotted an old, rusted bicycle discarded by a neighbor at the age of 6, he dragged it home, fixed it up, and sold it for a few bucks. That first taste of turning rust into profit lit a fire in him. While other kids played baseball, Mike spent his days combing through junkyards, alleys, and garages, always chasing the thrill of the find. But passion alone wasn't enough. Mike needed a partner, someone who shared his love for forgotten relics and could balance his fast-talking, high-energy persona. That's when Frank Fritz came into his life. The connection was instant. Frank's laid-back nature and deep knowledge of antiques perfectly complemented Mike's drive. Together, they built something extraordinary. When American Pickers debuted in 2010, the world fell in love with their chemistry. Week after week, the two friends scoured America, turning forgotten treasures into gold. Fans admired their banter, their passion, and the brotherhood that seemed unshakable. But behind the cameras, things were falling apart. Fame, business expansion, and personal struggles drove a wedge between them. The cracks deepened, and eventually, they drifted apart. When Frank Fritz passed away, something in Mike Wolfe shifted. The news hit him in a way nothing else ever had. It wasn't just the loss of an old friend. It was the crushing, irreversible realization that their story had ended without closure. For all the years they spent together, for all the miles they traveled side by side, it had all unraveled into silence. And now, that silence was permanent. The world had seen Mike release statements before. When Frank left American Pickers, Mike's words were brief, businesslike, almost distant. But after Frank's death, something was different. This time there was no corporate script, no polished response, just raw, unfiltered grief. Mike admitted he hadn't just lost a friend, he'd lost a part of his own life. In a heartbreaking confession, he said Frank would always remain his brother. In an emotional Instagram post, Mike wrote, "There's been a lot of opinions about mine and Frank's friendship in the show, but now is not the time to set the record straight. Now is the time to pray for my friend." For fans who had once criticized him for abandoning Frank, it was a moment of truth. The cold businessman they thought they knew was gone. What remained was a man wrecked by the weight of regret. Mike soon began speaking more candidly about their fractured relationship. He admitted they had drifted apart not out of hatred, but simply because success had consumed them. Opportunities, schedules, and personal struggles had widened the gap. Looking back, Mike regretted not making one last phone call, not trying harder to mend their broken bond. Now, that chance was gone forever. But Frank had tried to tell him once, though Mike hadn't fully listened. "They're trying to kill me," Frank had said. Not in the literal sense, but in the way the business had drained the life out of him. The constant travel, the pressure to perform, the endless cycle of finding and flipping treasures, it had worn Frank down. Mike had brushed it off, thinking Frank was just being dramatic. But now, in the aftermath of his friend's death, Mike finally understood. The world was no longer looking at Mike Wolfe, the star of American Pickers. They saw a man standing in the shadow of unbearable loss. No amount of money, fame, or success could undo what had been left unsaid. Grief doesn't hit all at once, it creeps in slowly, and for Mike, the weight of Frank's absence would now haunt him forever. The quiet moments were the hardest. Driving down long stretches of road, stopping in small towns, and stepping into dusty barns filled with forgotten treasures. Those were the moments when Frank's absence hit Mike the most. He'd see something that would have made Frank laugh, but the laugh was gone. The voice that once filled those long drives with jokes and stories had fallen silent, and the void was unbearable. For over a decade, they had been a team. Through exhaustion and excitement, through dead-end picks and once-in-a-lifetime finds, they had built something incredible together. Now, all Mike could do was look back and wonder, what if? What if he had tried harder to patch things up before it was too late? What if he had reached out when Frank was struggling instead of letting the distance grow wider? What if they had just one more road trip, one more pick, one more chance to get it right? But life doesn't work that way. There are no do-overs, no second takes. And for Mike, that was the hardest truth to swallow. In rare moments of vulnerability, Mike admitted that he had let pride get in the way. Success had blinded him to what truly mattered, the people who had been there from the very beginning. In chasing the next big deal, the next big find, the next big payday, he had lost sight of something far more valuable, friendship. And now that Frank was gone, the regret was suffocating. He wonders if he could have done more, if he could have fought harder, or if he could have simply understood Frank's pain sooner. Now, at 60, with years of road trips behind him and countless treasures unearthed, Mike has come to realize that the greatest treasure he lost was never an antique. It was his best friend. Mike Wolfe's story is a powerful reminder that success, fame, and fortune mean little if we lose the people who matter most along the way. No amount of money or recognition can replace a lost friendship or mend words left unsaid. It's easy to get caught up in life, chasing dreams, climbing ladders, and pursuing goals. But at the end of the day, it's the relationships we build that hold the deepest value. Mike's regret serves as a lesson for all of us. Don't wait until it's too late. If there's someone you've drifted apart from, someone you've had a falling out with, or someone you've simply lost touch with, reach out. Pick up the phone, send a message, or make amends. Because tomorrow is never promised, and you never know when your last chance to make things right will come. What do you think about Mike Wolfe's story? Can you relate to his experience of regret and loss? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Thank you for watching, and remember, cherish the people in your life while you still have them.